Hi, everybody. Welcome to another chat with Giorgio. I hope you're all safe and well. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Giorgio Horak, who is one of the original founders of Andrew Alliance. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of Andrew Alliance and also the development of lab automation over the last 10 years. So, first of all, Giorgio, lovely to see you.
It's my pleasure to see you.
Now, the last time we met was in San Diego, actually, for SLAS. In January, and at that time you'd recently been acquired by Waters. You had cakes on stand to celebrate, and you're doing a nice little tour of your very large booth. Obviously, things have changed a lot since then. How have you been dealing with COVID-19?
I was, I have to say, like challenging because, of course, like working from home has certain like challenges. But the good time that somehow we were like quite organized to work in this situation. And in the meantime, there was, of course, like integration between Andrew Alliance and the Waters. And in let's say facing two challenges in one time, it was quite difficult, but we managed.
Fantastic. Well, look, one of before we start talking about the history and obviously developments within lab automation, perhaps you could tell the viewers a little bit about your background and your role within Andrew Alliance itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as you said, I'm one of the co-founder of Andrew Alliance, together with Pier Zucchelli, Antoine Jordan, Isabelle Semac. So I've been working in the company since the beginning, when the very first Andrew robot was built and designed in my apartment. So I had the opportunity to share my apartment with the robots. Let's say before the acquisition of Andrew Alliance by Waters, I was a CTO. Now I'm a global technologies director. It's basically the same role in Andrew Alliance, different title in Waters.
Okay, fantastic. Now, tell me a bit about how Andrew Alliance came about, because I know it's been for over 10 years now. What made you guys decide to move into the area of robotics within pharma? What was the opportunity that you saw there, and why?
I think it was like the experience that we shared together with the co-founder and Alliance, because we were in a previous company that was like doing a programmable micro 3D platform. And despite, let's say, the unit was working properly, the device was working correctly, but we got a certain variability. And the variability was coming from the sample preparation that was done before the use of the machine. And the sample preparation was done with the pipettes and with the, let's say, laboratory technicians. And despite the pipette, it's a really, let's say, precise tool. Unfortunately, say the human not always. And so, at a certain moment, we say, but why, for example, we don't think a solution in order to keep using the same tool that, let's say, precise and accurate, but replacing with a robotic arm. And it was the idea to, let's say, Andrew, indeed, as a robot. On the other side, we are pretty familiar that we have already some solution as a liquid handler, but typically the software it's really cumbersome to use it. And the idea indeed was to make also a software that was designed for biologists and not for automation engineer. And now we end up having, let's say, Andrew Lab as the first product that definitely, in my opinion, changed, let's say, the world of sample preparation in our field.
Right, and since then, obviously, a lot has changed within lab automation. So, what changes have you seen in the marketplace yourself, and how has Andrew Alliance adapted to those changes?
For sure, there is like a trend to go on what we say like connected labs. And this is something that, in fact, we try to address as soon as possible, because, in fact, it was, let's say, the feedback that we got from our, let's say, users, the users of our product. So the first point that, let's say, science become more and more complex, and even so the workflows. So we have to find a solution in which it could be like flexible and modular enough. And this is the reason why we end up having the idea to create the one lab architecture that is anyway the first Internet of Things solution in the labs. And we really like focus on three different aspects. As I said before, flexibility, modularity, that absolutely say important in research and development in many fields like pharma, like diagnostic, biology, and so on. So our solution, software and hardware, allow to adapt to variability, complexity of the workflows. The second part is easy to use. As I said even before, we want to have software and hardware that we require the minimum training possible, and collaboration. And it's clear that connected laboratory allow this type of collaboration. Another example is indeed that one lab has a real-time chat in which the user can immediately contact our services support team to have any possible information. Of course, they say these other, let's say, solutions are available on the market, but the easy to use and let's say our ergonomy of the solution, I consider is a kind of unique.
Right. Okay. And so, I mean, obviously now in the current situation with COVID, you've got a lot of researchers working remotely. So, how have you been able to help them, in their research, if you like, and development?
Yeah, so it's indeed like the situation that we currently have. It's a unique, but maybe could really say be for a lot of period. And today, let's say one lab user can exploit the advantages of Internet of Things solution because allowed to minimize the presence of people in the laboratory, in the company. And so, for example, we have that the person who is responsible of the concept of the experiment can design it, the experiment remotely and really efficiency without being in the lab. And we have a software that's really simple to, let's say, design the protocol. And then we have colleagues in the lab. They can prepare reagents, can prepare, let's say, samples, can prepare whatever is necessary to execution of the experiment. And once ready, the same user that is working remotely can launch the protocol. And this is quite, let's say, amazing and unique. And moreover, both can monitor, let's say, the execution and the final results of the experiment. Even in my case, for example, working with our, let's say, Waters colleague and also with the Android Alliance partners, we have the possibility to exploit the connectivity. So really like to efficiently collaborate despite we are completely separate geographically.
Fine, brilliant. Now, that leads on quite nicely. So how did the Waters acquisition come about?
So for Android Alliance was quite important to have this acquisition because I really see a synergy between the two companies. So on one side, Android Alliance gives a solution for sample preparation and can be a sample preparation, of course, in the CMS that absolutely say focusing for Waters, but I would say like in general. On the other side, we have Waters that, of course, has a really important position in indeed what is in the LCMS application. So combining, let's say, the product of Android Alliance and Waters, we are able to give to the user a final, let's say, solution starting from the sample and going to the final results. This, I think, is really like important because, as I said before, workflows become more and more complex, and our user, our customer require a final and, let's say, unique solution that are able to address their need.
Right, okay. So looking forward now, I mean, obviously, the last 10 years has seen a lot of change, and we've talked about that. So where do you see, or what do you see the future for lab automation, lab connectivity? What do you see the trends being?
But the trend, as I said, is really like going in these connected devices and in a way to have a connected laboratory in such a way that minimize in a way the presence of people in the companies in the laboratory. I really like to have only the dedicated people, the one that has to do like hands-on experience. This one, of course, as I say, one is minimize, let's say, the people in the laboratory, but also like enhance collaboration. This is fundamental because let's consider even like a big pharmaceutical company. There is one side they do development, and then there are multiple sites that are completely and, let's say, geographically separated, maybe site for validation, site for production, and so on. And it's clear that to address this need, we need to have a connected laboratory. And hopefully we have a solution.
Okay, brilliant. All right, well, is there anything you'd like to add before we close out this interview?
Nothing. I mean, thank you for, let's say, giving me the time to, let's say, explain a little bit our, let's say, solution and also a little bit of our history. It is also good, I'll say, after 10 years to remind a little bit like the history under Alliance.
Fantastic. Well, look, Giorgio, I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're very busy working on a new project all the time. So I hope you all found that useful. If you'd like to know more about Android Alliance, feel free to click on the link above this video, which you'll go straight to the website and find out more about the different solutions. All that's left for me to say is, Giorgio, thank you very much again for your time. It was great to see you, and hopefully we can catch up in person sometime in the future. Not sure when, but hopefully sometime in the future.
Me as well, absolutely.
And for everybody else, as always, stay well and stay safe. Take care.
Thank you.